All right, so we're going to get started. Wanted to discuss the Etsy platform today. How many of you guys sell on Etsy right now? How many of you guys don't sell on Etsy right now? If you don't sell on Etsy, you got to stay here, and find out why you should be selling on Etsy. When we first started, we had our VA put up some items on Etsy, and they sat there for a while. So Sarah Stiles is from Colorado. Our curve isn't going down. Same in California. Yeah. How are your Etsy sales going, Sarah Stiles? And Trish99, no Etsy. All right. Have you considered selling on there? VNG1215.8 Fine says, don't sell on Etsy, but I have some vintage items. Sweet. Yeah. So you're going to want to put those items on Etsy. And I mean, we've even sold some stuff that's not quite vintage on there. I think we're breaking the rules a little bit. They're definitely still nostalgic, and you cannot buy them anymore at the store, so people still buy it, and they pay a pretty penny for it. So Sarah Stiles says she sells about 1 to 2 vintage a month, but my dashboard does well. Yes. Oh yeah, you sell your dashboard on there. So yeah, so Etsy's known for it's very creative, right? So it's for when I think of Etsy, I think of crafters or people making jewelry or customized gifts. Which, to be honest, when we're choosing a gift for somebody and we want novelty, we'll hop on Etsy.
Yeah, and like personalized items, especially. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't mind paying $50 for an item because we're looking for the novelty. Really cool though. Sarah Stiles is selling, I think, her dashboard, which we need to dive into that this month.
Yeah.
Have yet to do that, right? With everything else going on.
It's on our to-do list.
Yeah. Yes. But basically it's data. It kind of researches, I think, your own. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, but it researches your own trends within your own sales, which I think is fantastic, and I'm so excited about that. And then she actually has that for sale on her Etsy store. And so Sarah Stiles LLC says, I have best luck with pushing it on social media. When I did Upcycle, did most sales in there from social media. Same with the dashboard. Yeah. Instagram's another platform to sell your things on. And anyway, but yes. So is that the next one, Michelle?
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Okay, so it says, what is Etsy? Etsy is a website that allows creators.
Hang on, guys.
Benefits of buying from small. It's okay, Michelle. I don't think we gotta. Okay. Good morning, Perfect Closet. How you doing?
All right. So Etsy is a website that allows creators of unique and homemade products to sell their products on the universal platform. Sorry about this little glitch. So why do you want to sell on Etsy? So initially, we weren't even looking into Etsy because in our minds, we were thinking, oh, it's homemade items. It's something like you make at home, or, it's arts and craft items. And we don't really carry any, we're not really making anything.
We're not really crafters.
We're not crafters. So then we looked into it and we're like, wait a minute, people are selling vintage items there. They're selling unique items. I'm like, we do have a lot of unique items. And so we decided to jump on the platform.
I think what really helped us get started is we're hanging out with my cousin, and he was getting into photography, and he wanted to buy old cameras. And at that time we were selling old cameras. Now that's like a key thing to find. Old cameras sell like hotcakes on eBay and on Etsy. It's like one of the #1 most searched things. So when my cousin said that, then we did research, and then we realized like, oh, hey, you could sell vintage items there. We had no idea. And a lot of our stuff that we had at that time, and even now, are vintage items. And so what is a vintage item?
So vintage item is anything over 20 years.
Yeah, it's anything that's over 20 years. So basically, it starts from the year 2000.
Yes,
correct? Now, correct us if we're wrong on that one. So, so we just started putting, having RVA upload clothes on there, and that's what we were selling on Poshmark at that time. It didn't actually do well for us though. I remember like nothing moved for a long time.
Yeah.
So then we started uploading hard goods, games that are over 20 years old. Anything else?
Home decor. Vintage newspapers.
Yeah. So we started, pictures. And after a while, just on its own, organically, people started buying our items. And I think we sold a game on there for $150. We bought it at a garage sale for $4. Yeah. It wasn't quite vintage. It was year 2002. But that Yahtzee game, we were going to send it to Amazon because it was going for $150 on Amazon, right? But we weren't allowed to sell toys on Amazon, so we just listed it on Etsy, and lo and behold, it sold, right?
Yeah, it was very surprising. So why Etsy? Some of the reasons is, because it's a unique product. They're not just selling clothes. There's a really good product diversity there. They really support basic entrepreneurship. So whoever wants to start a business, it's very easy to start there.
Sarah Styles LC says, in theory, some true vintage people say further, but you can vintage pre-2000. Makes me feel old. Yeah, we're vintage.
We're vintage.
We grew up in vintage times.
The 90s.
I love Etsy because people just buy it. They know the value of vintage.
Exactly.
Same.
That's how we feel. So some of the popular items on Etsy includes purses, craft supplies, cosmetics, collectibles, clothing items, arts, and accessories. Jewelry, I think, is a very popular item on Etsy. And a lot of people make it at home and they sell it.
Yeah. But like for us resellers, and if you're not crafty like us, because we're just not, for people like us who don't want to make anything, not only can you do vintage items or novelty items, like things that are just rare, but you can also put some really cool bundles together. You could develop your own niche, and you could sell a gifts, right? You could do like let's say if your niche is babies, you could do a baby gift set. So those are actually really popular on Etsy. Doing bundles and sets is a great way to make really high profits, because you're not selling just one item, you're selling multiple items, right? And just putting things together automatically boosts the value of those items. And when you do sell a gift set, which again, you can buy all of this, you could buy it wholesale and put it together yourselves. Make sure that you also create beautiful packaging, whether it's a box that you purchase and really nice tissue paper, because again, when we buy on Etsy and we're buying gifts and stuff like that, if you can just have that gift ready to go with, wrapping and everything, then that makes your experience even better.
And it benefits the buyer too, because they save money on shipping and they don't have to go around and look for multiple items. So Sarah
Styles LC says, I love Etsy because people just, oh yeah, I already did that one. They do just buy it. Good morning, Karen from 6 Creative Concepts. Thanks for joining us this morning. And hello, B Dimple. Sarah Styles LLC says, kids have figured out. I'm listening and won't stop bothering. Nice chatting. See you later. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Bye, Sarah.
And good morning, Dio Arc.
Okay. Let's go to the next.
Magan, how do you say? And how do you say good morning in Tagalog? Magandang umaga?
Magandang umaga.
Yeah, magandang umaga. There we go.
So what we've sold so far on Etsy, we have sold board games, especially now. We actually sold a puzzle, a 2,000-piece puzzle, Coca-Cola puzzle, to someone in New York who is currently in quarantine. And we've sold some greeting cards, vintage Valentine's Day cards. We've sold vintage cameras. We have sold postcards, vintage postcards, and vintage newspapers.
So stationery does really well on Etsy. We recently sold a bunch of Valentine's Day cards that we put in little bundles. So again, I think people like to buy a collection or bundles of things. And I don't know why they bought Valentine's Day cards in April, but they did, and we're very happy about that.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot, so we need to move.
Well, they're really cool, artsy, crafty cards too.
Good morning, Yaris Suarez. Yari Suarez, good morning. And so we have a question from Ria Sells. Good morning. So if you guys wouldn't mind putting your questions in the little, there's like a little sticker below with a little question mark, and then that way we could display it for everyone to see. But Ria Sells says, how does Etsy handle returns? Have we ever had a return?
We've never had a return. And we've never had a negative feedback at all. So that's another thing that I'm going to talk about is the buyers are they're happy customers. They're happy people. I need to get back to you on the return, but it seems like it's going to be the same case as eBay, as the other platforms where, you accept the return and then they get a label and then they ship it back to you. But I don't know the details about who's going to pay for shipping and things. So
And good
question.
We've been on Etsy for what, over a year now?
Yeah.
Over a year now. And it's crazy to say that we've never had a return. We've never, like Michelle said, we've never had an unhappy customer. And we're not doing anything, we're not really doing anything different from our eBay sales and our Poshmark sales and our Mercari sales. Mercari has been pretty good too. We haven't had really any returns there.
No.
But we have had returns on eBay and on Poshmark. So
a lot more on eBay.
Yeah, and not like a lot, but
Yeah.
every platform has more returns. So that's really cool.
So here's a fun fact about Etsy is that this is a game that we've recently sold. You could see how many people have that item in their cart. So when someone's shopping and they, like all of us do, we add it to our cart and then we just leave it hanging. You can actually see if the item is popular and people actually are considering buying it, which is something really unique about Etsy because we don't really see how many people put our items in their cart on Poshmark or eBay or Mercari.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and when you see that, you can also message people with private messaging, and you can ask them, or tell them to buy it from you, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool.
Another cool factor is that Etsy, when we get feedback, we actually get like a whole experience feedback, meaning they send you a photo of how they used the item and how happy they are. So we sold this Star Wars Princess Leia doll, and the client said, was packaged wonderfully. I'm so pleased with the condition. Cannot wait to display her with my Princess Leia doll. And the one on the right is the item that he or she purchased. So it's so cool because you kind of get this satisfaction out of like what you're doing. Like it's almost like there's like a meaning and there's a purpose of what we're doing here because we're finding cool items, vintage items you can't buy outside, and we're rehoming, we're giving them a new home, right?
Yeah, I think it's really cool that when the Etsy buyers rate something, they do give us a lot of information about how they're using it in their lives. So a lot of them are gifts, like we mentioned earlier. And we've done some really cool things when we weren't under quarantine. Like we've made free birthday cards. Michelle's really good at putting together graphics on Photoshop. And we've made, just personalized it a little bit, for them. And if you do decide to sell on Etsy, try to figure out how you can maybe personalize things, even if it's a handwritten card, and you can ask hey, do you guys want a birthday message? But again, it's really cool how they have pictures and let us know how the item was received. It makes us really happy.
So a lot of our viewers have been asking what is the fee, what is the commission on Etsy? So when you list an item, it's 20 cents. It's 20 cents per listing, and they list the items for 4 months. It lasts for 4 months. And then there is a transaction fee of 5%. It's kind of like eBay, PayPal charges a fee. So there's a payment fee of 3% plus 25 cents. So essentially it's not like a lot like eBay. It's quite reasonable. And also they offer, no additional monthly fee. They do offer seller protection, and you don't have to go through the hassle of clicking a button to deposit the money to your bank account. It actually automatically just sends money to your bank account, which is cool.
Which is amazing, because like, what other platform does that? eBay?
OfferUp does that, because eBay, you got to go to PayPal and you got to transfer the money. Poshmark, Mercari, you got to transfer the money. So this makes it really easy.
So this one just goes straight to your bank account then?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's right.
Morning, Vintage to Posh. How you doing today? How many of you guys are currently selling on Etsy? How many of you are not selling on Etsy but you want to? If you guys have any questions about the Etsy platform or comments, go ahead and hit the little sticker with the question mark down below and enter your question or comment. That way we could display it for everyone to see.
Cool. Pros and cons of Etsy. Let's go to the pros.
Yeah, what are some pros?
Click on the next slide.
Oh, I have to click on the next slide? Okay, let's do it.
So Etsy is very easy to list. And the really cool thing is they almost have unlimited number of keywords you can put on there. It's crazy. You could put literally like a little paragraph on the title. Not that I'm recommending it, but if you do want to capture a lot of keywords, Etsy is great it's a great platform to do that. It has a good reputation. It recently, IPO'd, I think a year or two ago. So it overall has a really good reputation. So people perceive it as like a really nice platform to buy items. It's got, based on our experience, the traffic on Etsy is quite high comparing to the other platforms. We not only, we get sales, but we get a lot of traffic there. So you actually see people like liking items here and there quite often.
But that actually goes into Etsy provides really amazing analytics. So it lets you see the traffic on your platform, where I don't think,
is really cool too,
I don't think the other platforms do that, to be honest.
No. And you could see how many people look at which item, and you could see what day they looked at it. It's really cool. Yeah, so there's a lot of data involved.
Yeah, it shows how the traffic is getting to your site, and that's how we discovered that most of the people who go to our store are already on the Etsy platform. So very little traffic comes from like Google, at least for our store. Most of our traffic, it's people who are already on Etsy and they're looking for an item while they are on Etsy.
Yep. And nice buyers, we talked about that. We've never had any complaints at all. Reasonable commission, we talked about that. So the commission's quite reasonable comparing to eBay and Poshmark. There's no negotiation involved. So Etsy, they don't have this offer to likers or make an offer option. If a buyer likes your item, they just have to purchase it. So it's like a buy it now scenario.
Though I do want to say, and we just want to say hello, good morning to Daily Refinement. I do want to say though that I do like the private chat option, because if they do have any questions about the item before they buy it, they do message you. And then we've had that happen a few times.
Yeah. Sometimes they would message you and say, hey, can you bring down the price?
That's happened before too. A couple times.
But in most cases, people would pay a high price for an item on Etsy.
99% of the time.
And the last thing is that you could do international and domestic shipping. So we recently sold a Vogue wooden wall art to someone in France. Switzerland, sorry. I got my countries mixed up. Someone in Switzerland. So it's quite easy. You literally weigh it, you print the shipping labels, and then it's done. So don't be intimidated by international shipping. It's literally the same thing as domestic shipping.
Yeah. So Daily Refinement says, very cool screen share. I've never tried Etsy. Awesome. Yeah. So Etsy's, a platform that you should definitely give it a try. And if you're able to check out the live after this, it stays on for 24 hours. We also upload to our podcast, the Flip Miguel's podcast. But if you're not in the Etsy game and you're a reseller, why not? You know, it's time to get in there because the profits are just awesome. The customers are awesome. We love the platform. But so those are a lot of pros, a lot of really good reasons why you should sell there. What are some possible cons?
Possible cons. I mean, definitely there are more pros than cons. This is not like a big con, but you know, we're sometimes so spoiled by Poshmark that they literally just send you a label and you hit the print button. You know, with Etsy, you still have to weigh it. It's like eBay. You weigh it, you measure the item, and then you got to print the item. And you kind of have to evaluate between FedEx and USPS. So it's not that big of a hassle, but it is definitely not as convenient as Poshmark.
Because Poshmark just uses one carrier, and here you have choices, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit tougher for the seller.
Yes.
In terms of providing all those choices, a little bit more work. There you go.
Yeah. The other thing is that vintage items, handmade items, are mostly sold on Etsy. So if you have anything new, it may not be the right platform for you, but if you, let's say you go to Goodwill and you picked up like a vintage pair of Levi's jeans, then yes, Etsy is the place to sell those items.
Sorry, I gotta interrupt you on that one. That's not 100% entirely true. Let me explain why. So individually, you probably don't want new items on Etsy. At least we haven't seen any, but you can, as I mentioned earlier, you can position new items in a different manner. You can package the new items into a gift set, right? Like right now with the pandemic, we have a lot of people in the medical industry. We have, you know, that are working, and there's a big need for that. And a lot of people are going to medical school or they're trying to become nurses. And you can give gifts to nurses. Actually, you know what? I just thought of a great gift idea for that. I mean, even for me, if you give me a gift set with like Purell, gloves, you know, goggles and masks, I'd be a happy camper. But so you can sell new things.
Yeah, but that's what I meant by handmade items. But because it's you're crafting it, you're curating it. So that is okay. So what I'm trying to say is that the platform is not, it's not that you could sell anything like toilet paper there, you know, it's not like eBay, but it's more like items that are a little bit more special. Either it's vintage or it's handcrafted or something that you're creating yourself.
Including a gift set, right?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
so good morning, Project Downsize PM. All right, we have a question for you guys.
So this is to wrap up this little presentation. Do you guys know what Etsy stands for?
Do you know what Etsy stands for? If you know, type it in the comments.
No Googling.
Yeah, don't Google it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No, I'm just kidding.
Do you?
You told me yesterday and I already forgot, so. Okay, what does it stand for?
We'll give like 5 more seconds. All right. Etsy stands for easy to sell yourself. And I did not know that. I just found out yesterday.
That's cool. Easy to sell yourself? Like your brand or
easy to sell, it's an easy platform to sell items yourself.
Oh, to sell on.
Yeah, to sell on.
That's really cool.
I thought Etsy was like a person's name or something.
I thought it was just a cool name of a company.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are there any questions on selling on Etsy? And how many of you are going to try Etsy? How many of you, after joining our live today, are going to try Etsy? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any questions about selling on there, feel free to DM us with questions. We're happy to answer them. All right. So I don't know who's going to sell on Etsy. Yes.
Yay!
Reselling said me. Awesome. Yes. You go, girl. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, oh yes, 6 Creative Concepts said me too. You go, girl, too. If you guys have any questions, ask us. But I do want to say, if you start selling on Etsy, it's not hard. You could just upload beautiful pictures, but you do need to just have some patience because you need time for people to come on your store and some traction to start building. So give yourselves like about 3 to 6 months to start building the traction. But don't hesitate to upload pictures on there too. We do have a question. We're going to display it. See here. Thanks for the comment. 6 Creative Concepts. She said, I had an account. Now I'm going to go back to it again. Thanks. Yes.
Yes.
Do it. Yes. You will not regret it. And let us know like your successes. If you happen to make any sales, we want to know about it. Let's see here. I do want to recommend a Reseller's Passion, Girly Girl Style. If you guys want to check out their accounts, they sell on Etsy. And maybe you can get some ideas on there if you don't already have some. So.
And also 6 Creative Concepts, when you do the listing, try to fill out as much information as you can. They have a tag section. The tags are super important. So if you're selling a vintage pair of jeans, you make sure you put in like vintage jeans. You make sure you put in Levi's. You make sure all the tags are in there because that is going to drive traffic to your item.
Yeah, when people are searching for a camera, vintage camera, then that's how they would find your store on there. So one more thing before we go, we do have a webinar. It's completely free on Saturday. It's going to be at 12 p.m. Is that what we said? 12 p.m.?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's going to be all about OfferUp. It's going to go into detail on that platform. So if you're interested, send us your email addresses so we can invite you to that webinar. And thank you guys for joining us this Wednesday. We hope that you have a beautiful Wednesday.
Keep hustling and keep relisting and keep doing what you're doing and get those sales.
Yeah, let's learn together, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.